Kevin McCarthy, with Sean Spicer and Lindsey Keith. That sounds like a radio name, on NewsMax. And there is, McCarthy is not a very good majority leader. Let's just make this clear. In terms of like trying to marshal his caucus, the Republicans were able to pass one significant piece of legislation during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president. That is it. Period. End of story. There was no other major piece of legislation they were able to pass. That legislation was tax cuts for wealthy people. A fairly uncontroversial piece of legislation within the Republican caucus. Outside of that, this guy has always been considered a bit of a dim bulb, but what he can do is raise money. And that's why he got those votes. Increasingly, there are other sources of money in the Republican Party, and that is creating all sorts of fractures there. They are threatening, there are people who are threatening to run against him for his leadership. I imagine they will be negotiating some stuff, but here is McCarthy. And you'll note that the chyron there is McCarthy calls on Mayorkas to resign. This is what their go-to is. It is the only smart thing that they have done, instead of course, pursuing the fact that the election was stolen in Maricopa County, and instead of trying to pass like a federal ban on any health care for kids or people who are trans, any gender-affirming care, which was a huge loser for them in the general election, they went back on an old, trusted tactic of attacking immigrants and non-white people. Here is McCarthy.
I've had a couple of these folks that say that they won't vote for you on the show. When we ask them what they want, they list a couple rules concessions that they want. Then we say, well, if you get those concessions, will you vote for McCarthy? They say, well, we're not sure. Well, then who do you want your candidate to be? Well, we don't know that. One of those people suggested Jim Jordan. He's supporting you. Marjorie Taylor Greene supporting you. Donald Trump supporting you. You've raised, what, $500 million? Some of these people, you've actually funded their races. The thing that I don't understand is I don't envy your task. These folks aren't giving you a target. I get your point. There's no alternative. Everybody has voted for you. The conference has spoken. And as James Comer at the top of that clip said, you've earned the opportunity. You were the quarterback, the coach that led him to the big game and won. So the question is, going back to what Lindsey said, you've got 5 people that you've laid out all your cards out there. What is it that you are able to say to them that is going to change them at this point to get you to 218?
Well, we have to listen, but you have to listen to everybody in the conference, because 5 people on any side can stop anything when you're in the majority. I think when you look at the past history, when Paul Ryan ran, he had more people vote against him in the conference, and then they voted for him on the floor. We got 5 more weeks. We're working through our conference rules today. We want to make sure that everybody has input, but we have to speak as one voice. We will only be successful if we work together, or we'll lose individually. This is very fragile, that we're the only stopgap for this Biden administration. And if we don't do this right, the Democrats can take the majority. If we play games on the floor, the Democrats can end up picking who the speaker is. So I think at the end of the day, calmer heads will prevail. We'll work together to find the best path forward. And I believe at the end of the day, since I've been leader, all we've done is been able to gain seats. We have not lost seats. We've won seats each and every time, where the rest of the Republicans have lost. So I think at the end of the day, we'll find the right path, and we'll make the American public proud of what we're able to accomplish and turn this economy back around, because we're going to focus on the people, not on politics.
Now, I've been told that it's impossible that the opposite party in this situation would be able to pick. And so maybe he's just completely lying. But I think the idea is that there's simply no candidate to run against him. And so they don't think that he doesn't, he knows he has to maybe make some minor concessions, but there's no one literally to run against him, at least within the Republican Party. But it's fun to watch the headaches they're going to have. Presumably, this is really about who's going to get to chair the Hunter Biden investigations. And I will say that in this context, right, it is going to empower people who I think are going to, in many respects, disempower the Republicans in this particular instance. Like, I do not think it behooves the Republican Party to have Marjorie Taylor Greene or someone of her ilk chairing endless hearings on Hunter Biden, but they're going to do it. And this is going to be one of the ways that they do it. And more power to those people.
I mean, this is just another instance of the monster that they created coming back to bite them. I mean, one, like, they were already going to have issues given the slimness of the majority, but the reason that the issues are exacerbated and why maybe like they have a harder time wrangling their caucus than, say, Nancy Pelosi has had with that same margin is because of the crazies in the party.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And when we talk about fundraising ability, what the way that Marjorie Taylor Greene is able to leverage her kind of power is because she has that capacity at this point.
Why does McCarthy have the capacity? Is it just California, or what's his?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's why, like, Hakeem Jeffries is taken more seriously, and, well, he's been groomed for this. But that's why, like, there isn't much of a push behind someone like Tim Ryan when he tried, is because they want these leaders to be in big moneyed, like, coastal centers so they can rake in dollars.
The Steny Hoyer, obviously, from the credit card center of the universe in Delaware, and where a lot of corporations are registered, collects a lot of money, doesn't have to do much of his own fundraising, or I should say his yield is so high and he's so willing to take corporate money that it frees him up to go to go fundraise for other candidates around the country, and it builds a certain type of loyalty. I mean, we've talked about this for years. I remember 10 years ago making the comparison to, say, a guy like Jim McGovern, who is a congressman from Worcester, Mass, that district anyways. Here's a guy who's not taking big corporate money. He's and he doesn't have the ability to basically not worry about his fundraising and go around and raise big money for other candidates. AOC does.
Right.
And she has begun to leverage that, not just for progressives, but also for centrists. And I don't know how many conservatives, but at least, at the very least, centrists. And the idea is, for better or for worse, I would suggest that it's for worse, but it is the way that the game is played. That is the way you build power, or one of the ways that you build power in the House is you help fellow members who end up voting for you at one point, or voting with you. I should say Steny Hoyer from Maryland, not Delaware.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
And also, just like, I saw some people saying, well, progressives should field Katie Porter for as an opposition kind of party leader, and that's the reason why she's not going to be the pick if anyone tries to, and it doesn't seem like they're actually going to challenge Hakeem Jeffries, but because she's in the district and she just barely won her reelection.
Well, that's the thing too. You need to be in a district that's fairly safe, because you're going to be taking votes that are going to be uncomfortable for you, or you're going to be doing things, and that's why you need someone in a safe district to be the leader. So, we'll see where it goes. At this point, it looks like the minority leader of the House is going to be Hakeem Jeffries.
And for the next few decades, he'll be the speaker and leader. Yeah. Oh, great.
Yes, I know. I'm getting Hoyers from Maryland, not Delaware. Yes. Apologies.